Hi again, Brian here. Sunday, December 3rd, 2023. I always got thoughts in my mind. Sometimes I keep them to myself. Sometimes I keep them just like here. Other times you got to get them out. That's why I ask you, do we not deserve a chance? Should we not be told the truth so that we are given the opportunities to change our ways and better our chances of survival to get through the great periods of sorrow which will soon be upon us? Maybe if we were told the truth 40 years ago, nations would not be warring against nations nor kingdoms against kingdoms. Maybe we would be brought closer together, including all the different faces of the world, if we were told the truth. Instead, our governments and the elite will leave us out in the cold to die and to starve. And those who have not awoken spiritually, their hearts are going to fail them. And it will drive them against their fellow man in brutality for their own desires to survive, instead of working together. Meanwhile, other countries like Russia and China, they're preparing their people. They're sort of telling their people, maybe not necessarily spiritually, but they're telling their people to prepare. They're thinking about their people. China, for example, has known about grand solar minimum in their 2,800 years history. They also know that during each one of their dynasties, they die off during the grand solar minimum period. This is one reason why they're doing what they're doing right now, to prepare for the next one. And Russia, perhaps for the same reasons, but others as well. Not us, not our governments. They will starve us to death and leave us out to die. Enough information and facts was initially presented by the government through news articles in December 1983 and January 1983 through the Washington Post and the New York Times, and then one more time in September 1984, the factual existence discovery of the Planet X system. But then they suddenly realized maybe we shouldn't have said that. And the great cover-up began 40 years ago. They appointed somebody from the U.S. Naval Observatory, Mr. Robert S. Harrington, to find, locate, and track the existence of the binary system. When he was about to make his findings public in New Zealand, he suddenly and mysteriously died from a sudden onset of throat cancer, highly suspiciously. Enough evidence has been presented. Even the planets in our own solar system are telling us there is an external influence, an external gravitational and electromagnetic influence. They are changing. Mars is having earthquakes. New volcanoes are erupting on the planets. Even going back to the 1930s, they discovered the perturbations of the orbits of the outer planets, Uranus and Neptune. Something was pulling on them from below. They have known for a long time. But 40 years ago, they had to come up with a cover story the man-made global warming narrative to explain the violent earth changes expected, and expecting us to believe it's man-made global warming, we are at fault. But I ask, if they would have told us the truth 40 years ago, could we not be in a better place, humanity? Given us time to work together and put aside our differences. Makes you irate that the governments and the elites, you are working so the governments and the elites can survive, not your families. But there's also other people out there who are there to deceive you. And maybe even one particular person who's been put in place to deceive you and to deny. He may lie to you and telling you something he is not. He is not an astrophysicist. He is not a geophysicist. He is not a scientist by any definition. And when he deflects, when people ask, he will say, I have 2 degrees. He will not tell you that it has nothing to do in the field in which he studies. And finally, to give you a fancy word salad, I have hyperthymesia. But you blindly accept that's something that's gifted. But you do not understand that by no definition whatsoever, by no definition a physician, a doctor, a psychiatrist, a psychologist will give you, it is by no definition a measure of anybody's intelligence or intellect. It's got nothing to do with that. It's about the ability to recall personal life experiences in vivid detail, especially traumatic life experiences. It's got nothing to do with intelligence. And when somebody is put in place to absolutely deny, without giving explanation, the existence of the Planet X system and whatever you want to call it, not once would he give his rationale, exposes him as the spook he is. There's other people out there too. They're just out there for personal monetary gain, to deceive you, to defraud you, steal your money. Again, say something that they are not and they not have and do not have. That particular person 2.5 years ago tried to extort money from me. He wanted me to pay him 10,000 British pounds to produce his credentials that he does not have, in stating that he has a bachelor's degree. Fancy words, word salads, lies, and deceits to try and impress you and deceive you. Soon, one day, their fallacies will be brought out and proven, and it doesn't matter anymore. Guess what matters is the only thing that you need to trust, ultimately, is his playlist. And the one who tried to get 10,000 British pounds out of me recently said, God will punish you for not donating money to his observatory. too bad, isn't it? One day, probably soon, events are going to unfold and things are going to begin to manifest in the heavens above, such as he said. And so too, fire and blood from the earth below and vapors of smoke. So too ye shall all see. Men's hearts are going to fail them, and we're not given a chance. Because the world is full of deceit and lies and cover-ups and orchestrated distractions. And I think more and more and more people are becoming aware of what is about to happen, and they are maybe perhaps being spiritually awakened. And I hope more and more of these YouTube liars are brought out and shown who they actually are. I offended some of you again. It's just sad. That they hide the truth from us and do not give us an opportunity to prepare. And like I said, they are going to leave us out in the cold. And as one of them said, if anybody tries to get to his ranch, they will kill you. When SHTF really happens and they try to get to somebody's location, they will kill you. Their words. Pay attention to your environment and the world around you. I hope you start to wake up. Anyway, that's probably my final words for the night. Unless something happens. It's too bad they don't give us a chance. I'm about to be interrupted. Is that you, buddy? You all right? In my office, sweetie. All right, I'll talk to you in a soon. All right, I'm doing a video.
This one has strawberries on it.
All right, sweetie.
Bye.
Bye. And give our children a chance. Anyway, eyes open. Wake up to the deceit, to the liars, the frauds, and the ones who steer you away from the truth. I conclude my nights by reading the truth every night. Anyway, you all have a good night.